Hello everyone, welcome back to Wolf Song. This is my fourth installment, week 4 if you please, and thanks everybody for coming back to watch me. So I asked people to show requests to pick a topic for me, basically for me to discuss. I got a couple, um, some really interesting ones actually. One was to talk about something I discovered history-wise in the last week. I discovered something actually kind of fascinating. It actually was stemmed from a conversation that happened earlier today with my sister. We were talking about abacus and all that stuff, how a lot of people consider them the first computers and stuff. I don't really see it that way. There's a difference between calculating machines and computing machines, in my opinion, but that's a whole other ball of wax. And I feel I don't quite see abacus as the first computer. It's just not how I see things. Um, but the first abacus was actually created back around 2700 BC by the Sumerians. For those that don't know, Sumerians mostly held around the Middle Eastern region, particularly around the Tigris and Euphrates, rivers. Um, now, they I'm trying to figure out how to explain the Sumerians, and it's a bit difficult. Basically, they're one of the older uh, civilizations, about the same time as Babylonians, the Hittites. Actually, the Hittites are a little bit newer than the Sumerians. But basically, they were conquered by the Hittites and the Assyrians, pretty much wiped out. And then, of course, the Assyrians and the Hittites, were basically wiped out by the Persians. So, um, anyways, let's see. And then somebody else wanted me to discuss the Hundred Year War. The Hundred Year War is actually a misnomer. It wasn't 100 years, it was 116 years to be exact. And it was between England and France, and happened largely in the 14th, 15th century. I think it was 1337 to 1456 to be exact. And it mostly happened because William of Normandy actually had lands in France. He was the King of England for after he basically killed the previous king and took over. And he basically owned lands in France, and well, France didn't really like this idea of the Englishmen controlling part of France, and so it started off a rather large series of wars. That's the thing. The Hundred Year War wasn't a single war; it was actually a series of different wars over time. It was eventually ended by more or less by Joan of Arc. Um, she basically England basically beat the holy crap out of France for a long time. Pretty much France lost almost every battle up to that point. The thing is that France was always able to hold their own, though. They kind of stuck to it. It's kind of always the thing with France too, is that they've always held their own, but they've not been particularly great at winning battles. Not that they're awful at it either. Um, for those that don't know, the Knight Templars were French originally, so should give you some ideas how badass they are. Um, but basically, Joan of Arc kind of showed up on the scene on a divine mission from God, more or less, and basically beat the holy crap out of the English. Eventually, of course, she was caught by the English and burned as a heretic, rather suddenly and inexplicably too, because she had actually been forgiven of her crimes. The English had actually said, "Hey, we're gonna let you go because we respect you and stuff." And then overnight, they changed their mind and declared her a heretic and burned her as a witch, as a heretic. Um, so that's kind of weird and crazy. No one really knows exactly what happened down there. Um, no one's for sure. Um, but yeah, Joan of Arc, she's pretty badass. Kind of possibly crazy. But there's no way to know that for sure. Um, so Alrighty. There's other stuff I wanted to discuss too, but we're actually kind of running a little low on time now. I've actually gone on for about 4.5 minutes. Crazy. Funny how time flies. I did want to touch briefly on the whole rapture thing. Um, it's most of us, I'm sure, are smart enough to know that's not going to happen. That didn't happen. Obviously, at least as far as we can tell. Though it did. The last little note I want to leave you on is a friend of mine did say. Um, how do we know the rapture actually didn't happen? I mean, who's to say that 15 people in the world just didn't suddenly disappear and went up to heaven, and that was all that was worthy? I mean, people disappear every day. who knows what happened. Of course, I don't really think that's the case, but you never know. It could be. So I guess that's going to be it for today. Continue putting up topics, putting up ideas. Tell me what you all want me to discuss. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Oh, actually, there was one more thing. One of my friends asked why my walls were so bare, and it's because the room was repainted about a month ago, and I just haven't put anything up. Plus, we're actually in the process of trying to sell the house, and so I don't think it's a good idea to put anything up. Um, if it's just going to be taken back down again. Now, if we end up not selling the house, I'll start decorating my walls and putting stuff up there. But until then, I just don't see any point on putting anything up if I'm going to have to take it back down again. All right, well, anyways, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Have a great day, or great night, I guess.